The Lakers have completed the first half of the season, and so far, they actually aren't doing too bad. They are currently third in the West and have the best defensive rating in the entire league. But a lot of us have been disappointed by their play. They have been playing terrible basketball, and you can tell a lot of them are half-assing it. But when you compare them to the rest of the league, they are doing just fine. The entire NBA is not playing all that well, probably due to the short turnaround time, and also with a lot of players not being able to actually suit up due to health and safety protocols. Teams are having to scramble and adjust to the different lineups. The reason we're also down on the Lakers is because of recency bias. They've been losing their games leading up to the All-Star break. But to be fair, this was without Anthony Davis, and for a good amount of them, it was without Schroeder as well. But even before, when they were fully healthy, you could tell that they weren't playing the best basketball. Before the season started, I think a lot of us were expecting them to take it easy and not have a great record due to the lack of a full offseason. But then they started off well, so our expectations rose. But their success was mostly due to LeBron's play. Nobody else, including Anthony Davis, played to their potential, and that's understandable. And that's the situation around the entire league. If you look at the 4 teams that were in the conference finals last year, they all have similar records. The Heat, the Nuggets, the Celtics. And other than the Lakers, they all started off with losing records. And you can tell it's because they're tired. But we're also disappointed in the Lakers because we know what they are capable of. And to some extent, we're comparing them to last year's championship team. And that's not really a fair comparison. The 2020 championship team was the Lakers at their best, after spending over a year together. The team this season is still learning how to play with each other and is working towards becoming that championship team. But if you compare the team right now to where last year's team was at the first half of the season, they were in a similar position. That team also had a 4-game losing streak, and at that time, people were questioning whether or not they could beat any of the contenders because they failed to do so up to that point. But they were able to work through their issues and eventually became champions. They just needed time to do so. We need to give this year's team the time to gel and figure it out. They deserve to be given that benefit of the doubt. The goal of the first half was to integrate the new players to the system and to give them a chance to acclimate with one another, and hopefully to do so healthy and with a respectable record. And they did just that. Obviously, there is a little bit of a setback with AD getting injured, but that isn't really something you can control. And they are fortunate that it's not as serious as it could have been. As we move on to the next half and get closer to the playoffs, I expect the Lakers to ramp it up and take things more seriously. Obviously, there are things that they need to work on, like their interior defense. And I'm sure there will be some roster changes with the trade deadline and buyout market coming up soon. But for the most part, it's their effort that needs to come alive. They need to switch gears and start going for blood, because now they are the champions, and everyone is going to bring their A game. We've seen it countless times in the past, where the defending champions are looking lazy and aren't playing all that well. And that usually leads to losses when the opposing team is going at you full force. And this is especially common with LeBron James-led teams. They're waiting to turn on that switch, and although that can be dangerous, sometimes it's necessary, especially with the circumstances of this season. These guys know that the goal isn't to win some game on a Tuesday in February. The goal is to win the last game of the season in the finals. The NBA season is a marathon, not a sprint. And the Lakers are getting ready for that last stretch to the finish line.